2018 is an amazing one. We are very, very proud of the quality.
The result is stunning, really stunning. It's really up there with all the great vintages.
It's a very special year because we start with a sort of nightmare and we finish with something absolutely fantastic.
It was probably one of the most exciting vintage to produce in the last 20 years.
In 2018, at the time of the harvest of the red, I was already telling everybody that 18 Domaine de Chevalier will be the best wine I've produced.
The exciting thing about this vintage is that it's got all the principal components that I look for.
What was exciting about this year is the unknown, going around all the chateaux and just going, ooh, wow. I gave 2 wines perfect scores in this vintage, and they're 2 wines that I've never given perfect scores to before. Now that excites me.
We go out to Bordeaux and we taste between 500 and 600 wines during an en primeur campaign. Wines progress with time when they're in cask, so it's important to taste on 2 or 3 occasions over a 6-week period. And it is really important that we have complete confidence in our recommendations. It's really important it's a Goedhuis recommendation.
One of the things in 18 which is remarkable is the difference in the growing season between the first half and the second half. In fact, in my report, I've called it the sort of most fascinating game of 2 halves. Literally, the worst weather you could possibly imagine in the first half of the growing season, followed by outstanding weather in the second half.
The first 6 months of the year was one of the wettest on record.
During the 6 first months of 18, we have 12 months of rain.
Because of the humidity that we had to manage, the pressure with mildew, one of the biggest diseases we had to play with, was huge.
From the end of June, there was this most wonderful summer. Very warm conditions, very consistent.
The nights were quite cold, and this cold night keep the freshness in the fruit.
The precision of the vineyard managing is one of the key to produce an exceptional wine.
The cellar manager had to be really careful because if he was doing the same as he was normally doing on a normal vintage, the risk was to have something too over-extracted.
18 has this lovely structure, but in the same time, a lovely acidity. It's very Bordeaux style, fine, precise, fresh, long.
We have wines that have lots of fruit, but I like it because it's a fresh expression of the fruit. It's not the very rich, warmier kind of fruit.
When you taste the wine, you will see that balance. It's probably the Rosan with more density ever, but we never lost the freshness and the vibrancy we like.
If you put that and you forget it in your cellar, in even 20, 30 years, you will have a lot of pleasure, even more.
Freshness, complexity, delicacy, a very deep, powerful, but as well elegant and balanced palate.
Bordeaux is still and always will be the most important fine wine region in the world.
Bordeaux is 9,000 producers. It's one town. There's so many regions. There's over 100 different appellations. You can have one wine from one property and every year will be different.
The complexity of the different terroirs in a very small place.
On the 39 hectares of Château Cheval Blanc, we have 53 different plots. Each plot is picked, vinified separately. Each bottle has to tell the story of the vintage and the terroir.
It's much harder to say it was a great vintage in a specific appellation. It's actually great vintages for individual wines.
Take advice from experts like Goedhuis, who have an incredible team, all tasting the wines, going out several times, repeat tasting the same wines that they like to check that they're as good as they thought they were.
It's another great vintage that will be different from 16 and different from 15 or any others we'll have before.
We are convinced that when the consumer will be able to taste it in a year or more from now, it will be even better with the level of evolution and complexity, and they will love it as we like it.
If you want to discover Cheval Blanc, 18 is probably one of the best ways to discover the world of our estate because it's an academic Chateau Cheval Blanc.
I really enjoyed analysing this vintage, and I will enjoy even more than that drinking the wines in years to come.
18 is a strong wine, but not strong and big. It's strong and fresh and elegant. So when you have the structure and elegance, miracle.